If you ever decide to hike through the Appalachian Mountains of East Tennessee, the locals will always warn you with 3 strict rules. Rule number 1, never step off the marked trail after sunset. Rule number 2, if you hear someone calling your name from deep in the woods, no, you didn't. And rule number 3, if you stumble upon a cave that isn't printed on any map, run as fast as you can. In the summer of 2022, an experienced survivalist named Ethan decided to ignore all 3 rules. What he encountered deep inside those unmapped hollows didn't just ruin his trip. It erased 3 complete days of his life and left him with physical marks that doctors in Knoxville still cannot explain. This is Ethan's story. Ethan was no amateur hiker. He was a 31-year-old former wilderness scout from Colorado. He had solo hiked through the Rockies, the Sierra Nevada, and even parts of Alaska. To him, the gentle, rolling hills of the Appalachians seemed like a walk in the park. He planned a 4-day solo backpacking trip deep into a remote section of the Cherokee National Forest. Everything went smoothly on the first day. But on the second afternoon, around 3 o'clock, his military-grade satellite GPS did something impossible. The screen glitched, static flickered across the display, and the coordinates placed him in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Ethan laughed it off at first, assuming it was just a minor software bug. But then, the wilderness around him suddenly changed. If you've spent any real time in the deep woods, you know the dread of the dead zone. It's that eerie moment when every bird, every squirrel, and every insect stops making noise all at once. It usually means an apex predator is nearby. But Ethan looked around and saw no bear tracks, no scent of a mountain lion, just an oppressive, heavy, suffocating silence. Trying to find his way back using a paper map, Ethan stumbled into a deep ravine that wasn't marked on his chart. At the very base of the ravine was a narrow cave entrance, framed by a grove of dying black oak trees. As Ethan approached, he noticed something truly disturbing. The dead trees surrounding the cave weren't rotted by disease or burnt by fire. Their bark was carved with deep geometric patterns that looked unnaturally precise. And then came the sound. It didn't sound like the wind blowing through the rocks. It sounded like a choir of muffled, overlapping whispers coming from deep inside the cave opening. Ethan pulled out his thermal imaging camera to scan the dark entrance. What appeared on his camera screen made his stomach drop. The cave mouth wasn't cold, like natural stone should be. The thermal display registered a constant heat signature of 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, the exact temperature of human blood, radiating from deep within the earth. Every survival instinct Ethan had screamed at him to turn around and run. But before he could take a single step backward, the whispers completely stopped. A single voice emerged from the pitch-black darkness of the cave. Clear, loud, and crystal crisp. It was his sister's voice. She said, "Ethan, why did you leave me down here?" Ethan froze in absolute terror. His sister had passed away 4 years prior in a tragic car accident in Denver. That was the moment Ethan realized the ultimate horror of the Appalachian wilderness. Whatever lives in those ancient mist-covered hills doesn't just hunt you with claws or teeth. It hunts you with your deepest memories. From inside the dark cave, heavy, barefoot footsteps started walking toward the entrance. Fast, unnatural, a rhythmic clacking sound on the stone floor. Ethan dropped his heavy backpack and ran for his life. He sprinted through thorns and dense thickets, branches tearing at his face and arms. But behind him, he didn't hear a wild animal roaring. He heard dozens of different human voices, men, women, and children, all chanting his full name in perfect unison from the trees around him. He ran until his lungs burned and his legs shook, right up until his flashlight battery died, plunging him into absolute, terrifying darkness. When search and rescue teams finally found Ethan, 3 days later, he was 14 miles away from his last known trail point. He was sitting on the hood of an abandoned logging truck near Highway 129, staring blankly into the tree line. He had no memory of the missing 72 hours. His camping gear was never found, but during his medical examination at the hospital, doctors discovered 3 distinct surgical-like incisions behind his left ear. They were healed over as if they were months old, despite happening within just a few days. To this day, Ethan lives in a crowded, noisy city in Texas. He sold all of his hiking equipment and refuses to go near a state park. But he keeps a white noise machine running at full volume in his bedroom every single night. Because whenever his room gets completely silent, he swears he can still hear his sister's voice, softly whispering from the dark corners, "We know where you are, Ethan."
Let me know in the comment what you thought of these stories. To hear more scary stories, be sure to subscribe to the Next Shade Horror channel and hit the bell icon.